So, good morning. So we are looking at some topics. I'll just move this a little bit so I can see everybody. So we are going to look at a context of the feeling of being judged. Do you ever have that feeling? Yes. And this is a feeling that comes in connection with colonialism. Colonialism. So there are quite a lot of people in this world, countries, who have a history of being colonized, and then others who colonize other people. And so there are effects of that because this is a big thing to do. So when you are a person who has a tendency to colonize other people, you also have a tendency to judge them. And when you have a history of being colonized, then you get this feeling of being judged. Because you can only colonize people if you take away their self-respect. Because somebody with self-respect, they don't allow anybody to colonize them. So India is a country that has a lot of history of being colonized. For example, it was colonized by the Mughals from the Muslim areas for 700 years. That's quite long. And then it got colonized by different European groups, especially British, for about 200 years. So that's shorter, but it's still quite long. And there was a person whose name was Macaulay. And because the British people were trying to make the Indian people feel small. And he said, well, the only way you can do that is by making them believe that they're not okay. And so you have to create a story about them, which you have to get them to accept. And then it's very easy to conquer them and colonize them. And earlier in India, there was Alexander the Great, the Roman emperor, and he had also gone to to conquer India. India was a good place to conquer because it had a lot of gold and diamonds and beauty and lots of nice agriculture and all this. So he had heard that you have to be very careful about the yogis in India because they're very powerful. And so you can't just go in without understanding about the yogis. So you're yogis, right? In other words, you are rather dangerous. So he said, okay, call the yogis, let me understand their power. So they called some yogis, and a whole bunch of yogis came to see him. And he saw these skinny little men with just loincloth, and they didn't look very muscular or they didn't have any weapons. And he said, these are powerful. against my army of elephants and this and that. And he said, I heard you're very powerful. And they said, yep, we are. So he said, I need to understand your power. Can you please demonstrate it? He said, okay. They said, you have to get a lot of wood and create a gigantic fire, and we will show you our power. So he said, okay, and he made a big gigantic fire, and they walked into it. And he said, oh my God, I cannot conquer people who are not afraid of death. So he turned around and went back to Rome. So this is very important. Excuse me. This idea. I think I need a hot water. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about this. So this is all to do with what you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself. So first of all, as you heard a little bit already, everyone has had some or another amount of trauma, right? Some, can I have it a little bit here? Yeah. That's fabulous, thank you. So one kind of trauma is somebody does something really horrible to you and you are aggressed. That's one kind of trauma. Another kind of trauma is somebody says, oh, you don't exist. And they walk around life or the room or whatever, you don't exist. This is very traumatic. You don't exist, right? So, two kinds of traumas. And then, so if somebody aggresses you, then it leaves you with the feeling that it's okay for people to treat me badly. Because in a trauma of that nature, the people who aggress you are not punished for it. They are considered very good and it's okay. And if you say somebody aggressed you, they will say you're lying. Prove it. And you might not be able to because it was a while ago and there's no evidence that you can point to. All the blood was washed away, or maybe there wasn't any. And so then your mental processing is is a kind of faulty logic. Excuse me. If somebody excuse me, aggresses me and everybody thinks they're wonderful and they don't think very highly about me, then maybe they're right. You see, because if somebody does something bad, they have to be punished. And if they're not punished, then it means what they did was not bad. You see, this is the logic of a child. Because the child is told, if you do bad, you will be punished. So the child says, okay, that means it applies to everybody. If you do bad, you will be punished too. No. It only applies to weak people. Weak people will be punished, strong people not. But you don't tell that to the child. So the child acquires faulty logic. Then you get another type where you are not important. Nobody knows that you exist. Even though you say, I'm here. No, you're not. We can't see you. You don't exist. Get out of the way, you see. And so you say, no, I'm here. maybe I'm not here. If nobody can see me, maybe I'm not here, right? So, okay, I'm not here. I'm here, I'm not here. I am, I'm not. To be or not to be? This is the question. This is a Shakespeare thing. So, that's very traumatic, you see. And so there you are. Your logic is, if I'm here, I should be seen. If I'm not seen, I don't know whether I'm here or not, because I feel like I'm here, but nobody can see me. Maybe I'm invisible. How about, Harry Potter had an invisibility cloak. Maybe I could get one too, and I can be invisible. And then I can see everybody and nobody can see me. This is kind of good. But it's lonely. Right? So if you want to punish somebody, the worst thing you can do is to put them in a little prison all by themselves, alone. Because it's very difficult for people to manage isolation. But if you start with that in your life as a small child, isolated and invisible, this is pretty traumatic, you see. And there are consequences of these things. So when we come to Raj Yoga, this is not our first birth. Our first birth, we're in heaven, nothing's happened, we're just fine. But this is our last birth, so everything has happened. And we are basically not fine. Right? Somebody thinks we're invisible, somebody thinks we're good to, destroy. Somebody thinks we're stupid, somebody thinks this, somebody thinks that, and nobody punishes them, so probably they're right. You see, this is the logic of a child. The logic of a child is based on available information. And the available information is what the rest of the world thinks you need to know, which is not actually what you need to know, but they think that if you are given limited information, then we can control you. So this is the first level of colonialism. You see? You can aggress somebody without punishment, or you can make them feel invisible without any consequences to them. So colonialism is very widespread in the world. And in its big form, it's one country taking over another country. And when you have one country taking over another country, then the system of aggressing people or making them invisible becomes an institution. You see? It's an institutionalized a violation of a person's rights to exist. And so that is a serious crime, but no punishment. So then we say this crime is not a crime, it's okay, because we get a lot of money from this. So it's okay, you see? And so the normal moral logic that you would work out in your life is compromised, because something which is according to your conscience is the opposite according to how you observe people in power operating. Right? You understand? Your moral logic as a normal person with your conscience says, I'm here, I exist, I have a body, I'm visible. If you can't see me, either there's something wrong with you or something wrong with me. Logic says something wrong with you because you got eyes and I'm here and you can't see me, you have a problem. But they say, no, we don't have a problem. We are the big guys. You are a small guy. Small guys always have problems. Big guys never have problems. And your conscience says, really? Is that what it is? And your logic gets compromised, you see. Or in the other sense, some big guys aggress you, they don't get punished. You say, hey, you're not allowed to hurt me. You just hurt me. Nobody punished you. Ah, they say, it's okay. Big guys can hurt little guys, it's okay. But little guys can't complain and they can't hurt big guys because they will be punished. So you give the message that if you are bigger, then you can do what you want. And if you are smaller, you will suffer because of being small. Right? And so it makes complications in how you think. And so then you have to start, or automatically, you acquire faulty moral logic. Because what the moral authorities say and do does not correspond to what's going on. And that is called a dysfunctional world. And when you are arriving as a small child in a dysfunctional world, you assume that the people in authority are correct. Because if you get the idea that these people are not good, that's unbearable. So it's better from your angle to think they're good and maybe something wrong with me. So then what you do is you have to compensate for this situation. And out of that comes looking good syndrome. Looking good syndrome? I have to look good because these people like people who look good. And they're not much concerned about whether you are good or not. It's about looking good. So you find out what they like, what they think is looking good, and then you perform like that. And then you're okay, you see. So this creates another layer of faulty logic. And you don't think, oh, I'm creating faulty logic here. I'm messing up my conscience. Because if you would be really real and say, you know what, these guys are crazy. These guys don't understand anything. They have some serious problem. I'm the only sensible person in the whole world. Oh, what is this? Right, so you could take that point, or you could say, I'm crazy. All these other people are okay. I'm the only crazy one. I better hide it and make myself look good so they don't know that I'm crazy and they think I'm normal like them. That's normal to behave like that, you see. So this is very problematic because human morality doesn't know which way is up, you see. And then they take you to school, which makes it worse. Then they send you to church, which makes it even worse. Then they make you get married when you're old enough, which is worse. And then if you complain, they say, well, this is life, you know. Just go for it. And then you say, I think I suicide. You know, because that's logical. But then they say, no, suicide is crime. You can't do that. You have to suffer. And don't talk about it. Because if you speak about it, we will punish you. Because you're not allowed to make any comments about us. Because we are the boss. right? And so you say, okay, this is the rules of the game. I can do it, but I will sabotage you people somehow or the other. I will find a way. You will not be able to get me. You see? So this is the current world, and it's based on this principle of colonialism, you see, which starts off in a family and extends to the whole world. So this is this situation. You're either colonized or a colonizer. Either way, it's pretty negative. Lots of negative karma gets accumulated, and you have an intensification of overall human suffering, and you think, this is hell. Let's go to heaven. In heaven, things are better. And so the religion says, yes, 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 come over here, we'll just crucify you a little bit, then you can go to heaven. So then God comes along and he says, well, you know what? You guys don't understand anything. I have a school. You want to come to school? This is a school for completely messed up people to turn into gods and goddesses. Do you want this education? We say, yeah, it's okay, let's go. So here we are in his school. And so this study today is concerned with how to deal with the feeling of being judged. Because when you have experienced being the colonized one, then what comes with the territory is that you are judged. And in that case, judged means you are reflected back to yourself so that you see yourself as not okay. And you call that judgment. Actually, it's not judgment, it's distorted feedback. But you use the word judgment for it. Now, judgment is actually one of the powers of Raj Yoga, power to judge. And power to judge is like this. It's connected with the power of discrimination. We have these two powers, discrimination, judgment. So discrimination is represented by an icon which is two diamonds, except one of them is a fake diamond and one of them is real. They both look the same, but if you have a good power of discrimination, you can tell which one is real and which one is fake. So this is the representation of the power of discrimination. And so why do you need this? It's a weapon. You need this weapon because of being colonized, being the one whose moral logic has been messed around with, such that your power of discrimination is compromised, faulty, doesn't work so well. And so Shiv Baba, he sees what's going on always. So he says, your problem is you don't know how to distinguish the real from the fake. So you need this. So I will give you this as a gift, which is also a power. But it's also an instrument, a yantra, and so you have to learn how to use it. And you learn how to use it by playing with it. And gradually you get to see how it works, and then you become expert. But you start somewhere. And so the power of discrimination, you get to see what is real, what is fake, what is as it presents itself, what is fake news, And so this is a method for restoring your conscience to functionality. There are many methods, but this is one. Because dysfunctional conscience is because of many reasons. And so one of them is this. So then, if you are able to lay out all the pieces of information, and you have discerned this means this, this is this, that is that, etc., you know clearly what it all is, then you can make an evaluation. That's called judgment, you see. And then you have a judgment that this cup has hot water in it that's getting cold over time. And that's the reality. But someone comes along and they put some magnesium in it. It looks like a cup of water, but if you drink it, it don't taste like water. It's bitter. But you can't see it, so you didn't know there's any magnesium in it. So your power of discrimination has to be such that you figure out that there's magnesium in it, even though you can't see it, but it is possible to know it. So how you know it is you don't take a whole mouthful, you just put your finger in and take a little taste, just check. See? So your power of discrimination involves checking things that appear to be something, just to make sure that they are what they are said to be. Because if they don't check out, then it means it's not a glass of water, it's a glass of water with magnesium in it, and it just looks like a glass of water, but it isn't. So in the same way, if you get people who give you the message, you do not exist, you have to check. I exist, I don't exist. As far as I'm concerned, I'm here, Those people may not be able to see me, but, I'm here. So you don't have faith in those people. You have faith in yourself when you check, you see. Because the external sources lie. Now, as you know, I've been reading the Kalevala, right? And the Kalevala is full of lies. Everybody lies. And why is it like that? It is because the most important thing of all things is to be able to detect when somebody's lying. If that were not important, the Kalevala would not be full of lies. Right? So, it's a message to you which says, mostly what you get from the external world is lies. And what is your instrument for checking if someone is telling you lies or not lies? You have to use an internal instrument. You have to basically make yourself the authority of your life, not these other people, because they lie. And what they do when they start your life by either aggressing you or telling you you don't exist, or somewhere in between these two extremes, the reason they do this is so that you will give away your power and have faith in them and not in yourself. Right? And so God comes along and says, no, don't do that. What are you thinking? You are the king. These people are images on the screen of your mind, right? Because you see and hear and taste and feel and smell all these people with your sense organs. And the material that you are perceiving through your sense organs goes into the screen of your mind. That means it's representations, it's images. And it may or may not be true. But because you perceive it by your sense organs, it is classified as false. False because, as you must have heard many times in the Murli, your sense perception is deceptive. This is also there in the Bhagavad Gita. Sense perception is deceptive. So you have the inner sense of what's going on, and then you have sense perception. And if these two things match, you don't have a problem. But when you experience that you're perfectly well existing, you're present, other people tell you you don't exist, there's no match between your inner sense of what's going on and what you're hearing through your ears and what you're observing in the behavior of other people. That they are behaving as if you don't exist, and they're telling you you don't exist in many different ways. So there's a disconnect, and you have to decide who's correct, either you or them. So when you are a child, it's better to make them correct, because otherwise you put yourself in isolation. Now, isolation is more unbearable than them being correct and me being not correct. So you choose the lesser of the two evils. Both are evil, but making them correct is thought to be the lesser of the two evils. There are some people who say, no, you guys are incorrect, I'm correct. Okay, I'm alone, I'll be alone. These people have a lot of problems subsequently, so it doesn't really work either way. Both ways are a bad situation. So then you come to God's school, and he says, do not take sorrow. Do not take sorrow. Too late. I already took lots of sorrow. And he says, okay, no problem, but don't take any more sorrow. And you say, oops, too late. I already took sorrow halfway through your sentence. So then he says, okay, don't give sorrow, but you already know that. But nobody learns in any school or religion or anywhere else where you have your moral teachings, do not take sorrow. So he gives a lot of importance to this thing called do not take sorrow. And sorrow is a very subjective word. And so according to me, we need to rethink this word sorrow, you see. And sorrow is an emotion that different people get at different intensities as a result of different behaviors of circumstances and people. So it's very variable. And so if you give somebody an instruction, it needs to be more precise. So, for example, do not drink water. It's easy to understand. Do not drink water means do not drink water. You might say, okay, how about orange? How about coffee, tea? That's not water, but it's got a lot of water in it. So do not drink water is much easier to understand than do not take sorrow. Or you would say, no, I need it more precise. Okay, do not drink liquid. Okay, tea, coffee, orange, everything, that's all included in liquid. So that's more precise, you see. And then, oh, well, do not drink it, but I could, inject it. And so you need more precision. So the instruction is no liquid should come into your body. That includes injection, drinking, osmosis through your skin, and so on and so forth. So there's more and more precision required in order for you to work with the instruction effectively. So when he says, do not take sorrow, it's very fuzzy. So you need more precision. So sorrow is an emotional word. And when you feel bad about something somebody does or says or doesn't say or whatever, that's also an emotion. So people are very capable of triggering emotions in other people, consciously or unconsciously. Or you may somehow get an emotion when you see something too beautiful or too horrible. And it moves you. So this corresponds to that wind I was telling you about, the wind on the water of the quiet soul. So this is the mind, and the emotions are wind. So to be able to discern and discriminate and judge effectively, you need to have no wind going on the surface of your mind, no emotions. So for this instruction, don't take sorrow, you need a bit more precise. So someone will tell you something that is intended to be an insult, like you are a donkey, for example, and you don't like to be called a donkey. And if you particularly don't like that, because in your culture it says that if anybody calls you a donkey, that means that's really bad. Anybody who calls anybody a donkey, that's a really bad person. And if they do that, that means they want you to feel really bad, so then you feel really bad. Because it's in your culture that donkeys are not okay. Actually, donkeys are perfectly okay. But they've been classified as bad when applied to you. Donkeys are stupid, donkeys are small, if you clean them they always roll in the mud, there's nothing good about a donkey. Of course they'll carry your baggage for you, but we won't think about that. So you are trained to take sorrow from that statement because you've heard about it. And then somebody says, guess what, you're a donkey. Oh, donkey, what? That's bad. I'm not a donkey. He said I'm a donkey. I have to punish him. He did so bad. He called me a donkey. Mom, he called me a donkey. What should we do about this? You see, so this is how we get trained to take sorrow. Many different ways. So then, when Baba's teaching us not to take sorrow, different things give different amount of sorrow or pain or hardship or distress to different people in different ways. And he's telling something general, but then you have to apply it to yourself. So you have to take a close look and see what upsets you. because it will be different for different people on different days. So what upsets you? How do you get upset? So this is a very, very important thing. Identify the things that are maybe quite neutral in reality, but yet they upset you. And it's going to be different for different people. Now, how come a neutral thing upsets you is because it's associated with your trauma. Yeah, so this is why, this is a way of sort of analyzing the situation, what's going on, how it's going on, because by the end of this day, hopefully, we will arrive a little closer to something called freedom. The freedom means that you are immune to all of these efforts from the external world to make you feel bad, to disempower you, and things like that. So, if you are really truly in your self-respect, we have to think about what this self-respect is all about. So self-respect is connected with the identity that Baba tells us is our identity. So first of all, I'm a soul. So if somebody thinks I'm a donkey, something wrong with them. Because guess what? I'm a soul. They can't see I'm a soul, they think I'm a donkey. Poor fellow. Blind. Not very bright. Okay, no problem. You see? So you neutralize this possibility of getting hurt by something which is absolutely ridiculous and untrue. And you do it very naturally when you're in your self-respect. So Baba uses the expression titles of self-respect, right? He says, I'm giving you titles of self-respect. Would you please remember your titles of self-respect? So then you have a list of them. You may or may not have created a list, but at least you know you're a soul, not a donkey. And then he says, I can give you more information about a soul. A soul is pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light. And you say, yes, yes, I'm that. And he says, okay, then don't forget. Because then you go into a circumstance in some place where there are some things and some people. And there's some drama going on, some interaction. And in the middle of that interaction, you feel not pure, not peaceful, not blissful, not loveful, etc. And then there is a disconnect between what Baba says you are and what you feel that you are. So then you have to decide or ask yourself this question, how come if I'm a pure, powerful, peaceful, loveful, blissful being of light, I feel lonely, tired, angry, and fed up? What is this? So then he says, oh, don't worry. You feel that way because of how you are interpreting the circumstances. And the circumstances are invading your consciousness because of sense perception, and you feel according to the sense perception. This is normal, but it's deceptive. So you say, aha, I am a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light who feels angry. That's true. You feel angry because something happened that made you feel angry. But it didn't change your identity. It's a feeling, which is the result of you allowing something to come in and touch your mind and disturb you, hurt you, you see. So this is sort of analyzing the process of perception, because he's talking to us about perception. So we need to understand very step by step what's going on here. So did you write down the thing that upsets you easily? Did you write down?
Not yet.
So write it down if you can come up with it. Or maybe there's several, but if you have one. So then that particular thing that you wrote down, that you get upset when such and such a thing happens, even though that thing is potentially quite neutral, someone shouts at you, someone shouts at you and you get hurt by it. Or maybe what they say is hurtful, whatever. And they intended to hurt you. Or maybe they didn't, but they did it, so you got hurt, you see, because it went in. And so...
Or someone lies.
Someone died?
Lies.
Lied. Yeah, you don't like when people lie, right? So remember the Kalevala, everybody lies all the time. It's totally normal, If you don't like when someone lied, it's because you think they're supposed to not lie. And that lying is really bad. Why do you think that? It's because these colonial people told you that. And they told you, you probably lie, so you're therefore bad. So you don't want to be bad. So you think, okay, lying is bad, I'm good, so therefore I don't lie. But if somebody else lies, that's bad, really bad. And it's because you've been taught that the worst thing is lying. So somebody lies to you, the worst thing happened. If you read Kalevala, everybody lies about everything all the time. It is normal. People lie. Okay, why do people lie? They have a right to lie. Really? They do. And what do you have to do around lies? You have to discern whether what they're saying is a lie. So you know by your experience that most people lie most of the time, if not all the time. So if somebody lies, then what should you do? You should discern this is a lie. And then it's not a problem because you already know it's a lie. The problem is if you think it's true, then you get deceived. And then you find out you were deceived and you get upset because you didn't notice it was a lie. So you have to notice. What happens is you think the other person shouldn't lie, but you don't really have jurisdiction over other people's actions, right? Jurisdictions means you're not in charge of their action. They're in charge of their own action. What you're in charge of is your action and how you feel about what they do. That's up to you. So if somebody lies to you, you say to yourself, it's a good thing if I can discern or discriminate somebody's lying to me or not, you see. So if Sheep Baba says, you're a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light, is that true? Oh, but I don't feel like a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light. He says, yeah, of course you don't. You lost power, you had negative karma, blah, blah, blah. So obviously you don't feel like that, but actually you are that. And then he says, you have an original state, a final state, and a present state. These are all three part of your identity. So your original state is you're a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light. That's original. When you're in the soul world, you're like that, but you don't know because nobody knows anything over there. But he knows, so he tells you. Then you come down to earth, and then you're in your beginning state. So your beginning state is like your final state. So you are a pure, blissful, powerful, loveful, etc. being of light, and you feel it because there's nothing happened so far. And then you pass through 84 births in which a lot of things happen. You lose a lot of power, all kinds of karma builds up, etc., etc. And you arrive at the present time where you feel like an impure, sorrowful, unloving, not very, capable, peaceless being of dark. And he says, oh, that's normal. That's because you ran out of juice. So I got juice. Come and take some juice, and you will restore yourself to your original state. But don't forget that your identity is your eternal state. Your identity is not how you feel. But the people around you will give you different type of messages to make you understand that how you feel is what you are. And so he says it's better if you make a difference between what you are and how you feel, because then you can take your power back. So the most important thing in terms of self-respect in this school is to actually be who you are and not be something so that other people will like you. You see? So
repeating is very important.
Well, yeah. If I can. It's recorded, so it's there somewhere. But what he wants us to do is to be what we are. And when you are what you are, then you feel what you are. And when you are not feeling what you are, and you think that what you feel is what you are, then you are motivated to compensate for that by presenting to the other people outside that you are what they tell you is good. And you become that what they want you to be, which means you're giving away your power. So, you are told you're invisible. So that message means that you need to act as if you are invisible, because we are giving you an instruction that you have to be invisible so that it's convenient for us. And so then you practice being something that you're not, because internally you think that you are visible because all your checking says, I'm here, I'm visible. And this is a trauma because it forces you to not be what you are and be what you're not, because then only they will love you. And you need to be loved, because you're not a loveful soul, you're a soul who's empty. Your level of love is down. Your level of purity is down, your level of peace is down, all your levels are down because the soul has used up its energy and arrived in the last life. So therefore you are a hungry soul. You need some energy of purity, peace, power, love, bliss in order to feel fulfilled. So when Baba's talking to us about things, one of the things he says is, are you content, right? This is maybe not a good translation. Better is, are you fulfilled? So when you do yoga, you're connecting with Baba. He's called the ocean of purity, peace, power, love, bliss, along with a whole bunch of other things, but start with that. And so you recognize within yourself that you don't have much power. So you need power, so you go to the source, Shiv Baba. In meditation, you take power, because you need power. If you don't go to Baba and you need power, you will go to some human being who appears to be powerful and get into a connection or relationship with that person with the idea that you will get power by being associated with this powerful person. But actually they're not really powerful. So by getting involved with that person, you're giving away your power, and they're eating up your power because they also want power. So that makes you weaker. And then something will happen where they will start doing something bad to you, and then you feel really bad because you were deceived, thinking this person will give me power, and instead of that they took your power and they left you like a squeezed up lemon and threw you in the garbage. What is this? Oh. And one of the things that you can say about the soul being pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful, 5 things, is these are the elements of the soul. Like matter has air, earth, fire, water, ether as its 5 elements. So you can make a comparison between the soul and elements of matter. Purity, peace, power, love, bliss is the elements of the soul, and air, earth, fire, water, ether is the elements of matter. So all the elements together make the soul. So when you're taking power from Shiv Baba, you're not taking only power, you're taking love, peace, purity, power, bliss, all of them. You don't take bit at a time. Some people will tell you that you take bit at a time. You may practice to take bit at a time, but if you're connected with Baba, you get a current of energy which includes all of those 5 things. Okay? And anything material is made of air, earth, fire, water, ether in various combinations. And the ratio of the 5 elements of matter on the planet Earth is identical with the ratio in your physical body. It's the same exact. Yes, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. And so when you reach this time, because of the effect of time, because of the effect of karma, because of the effect of external moral authorities, parents, teachers, religious authorities, these are the most influential people, you are depleted by your interaction with all of these things. So we come into Raj Yoga depleted. And when you are depleted and you come into an experience on this spectrum of people aggress you or they completely disregard you and say you don't exist, somewhere along this spectrum you arrive on this earth and it's like that's the message from the world to you about who you are, which is not very nice. You know? A rare person is reflected accurately to themselves as they are in their essence. So the only person who can do that is actually Sheikh Baba, because he knows what you are before anything ever happened. But the rest of the people, they don't know. And all kinds of things happen to them. So all of this is filters, so nobody can really see anybody. They see what they project onto you, and then there's lots of filters on both sides. So people are effectively blind and deaf, and that includes yourself. So here we are, the blind leading the blind. And you know, in the Mahabharata, it is said that the Kauravas are the children of the blind father. No, the Pandavas, children of the blind. Not Kauravas, I think it's Kauravas. Anyway, yeah, Kauravas. So when you are operating on the basis of body consciousness, that means your sense of identity is based on how people tell you what you are, then you're blind, because you cannot see yourself. And the people who are looking at you also cannot see you, so they reflect you incorrectly. So they're blind, you're blind. It's the blind leading the blind. So where do you end up? Probably you fall over the hill or fall into the river or something like that. You're blind. You can't see where you're going. So with the third eye, Baba gives us the third eye, and he says, contrary to popular opinion, contrary to how you feel, in reality, you are a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful point of light in a body. And how your body looks is nothing to do with the reality of you. It's a mask. And so that you play a part. And you got this body because of karma and drama and so many things. But it doesn't prove or disprove who you are. For example, if somebody has a beautiful body and people say, you are beautiful, they're lying. They should say, you have a beautiful face, but you yourself may not be beautiful. That would be truthful, you see. But people don't do that. They see the body and then you receive that statement, oh, I'm beautiful. Right? But if the soul is not beautiful and everybody tells you you're beautiful, you will think you're beautiful as a soul. And in the same way, if your body is not according to their idea of beauty, they will say you are ugly, you are bad, you are horrible, and you will say, oh yes, you're probably right. But you may be perfectly fine, but they can't reflect you as they are. So then Shiv Baba comes along and reflects you as you are and says, you are a pure, powerful, loveful, blissful, beautiful being of light. And you say, really? I didn't know that. And you say, yeah, I'm God and I can see you as you are, so this is what you are. And he reflects us back to ourselves and he says, this is your self-respect. Now, this word self-respect, according to me, is not a very good translation, as usual. So, I prefer to use the word honor. Honor, yeah. I like the word honor better because what he's asking us to do is honor who we are and not dishonor it or not disregard it. You see? So I like better to say, this is your self-honor. And if somebody else is not honoring you, that's their problem. But you can honor yourself. and give due respect, due regard. You see, this word self-respect, the way it's used in the world today, doesn't really correspond to what is meant when Baba uses the word swaman. And the word man means respect, but also means honor. And because the word honor is not used all the time about everything, it's also better. But you see, people use in English, they use the word self-respect to refer to body conscious. And because of that, it's misleading, you see. And they don't much use the word self-honor. So when you are honoring yourself in Finnish, there may be some different meanings that you could apply to that word honor.
Yes.
So it's useful to specify to yourself, when I'm honoring myself, I'm honoring myself that I am a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light. This is how God sees me. This is how I choose to see myself. You see, because if you choose to see yourself the way other people see you, it will be different. Because other people see you according to your body. So they say you are a Finnish woman with XYZ, husband, children, house, job, career, background, education, medical records, etc. They will say that's your identity. And when you're honoring yourself, it's nothing to do with any of that. So your respect for yourself or honoring yourself is connected with what Baba talks of as titles of self-respect or titles of self-honor. So the first of those titles is you are a pure, peaceful, powerful, loveful, blissful being of light. That's the first one. And the mantra for that is Om Shanti. And you know how we use Om Shanti in 500 different ways on different days.
Yes. Really?
And it is because you can apply this self-honor to put a stop to the stream of different thoughts and emotions that get triggered when you hear or see or hear about or experience one of those things that causes you to get upset that you may have written down a little bit earlier. You see. So then when something like that happens, instead of reacting, that, oh, how dare this person say this to me, and taking sorrow from it, you say, Om Shanti, have a nice day. I add, have a nice day to the Om Shanti. Because it's the end of conversation. Because you don't need to take it any further. You put a stop to it. And sometimes Baba talks about one of our weapons, which is a trident. You know the trident? Mm-hmm. It's a spear which has 3 points. You know Neptune, the god Neptune, god of the sea, he has a trident. Mm-hmm. See, why does he have a trident? A very important reason. Because Neptune refers to your subconscious. And the subconscious is where your pain lives. And it's where your trauma went. And if you want to neutralize your trauma, 1 point is not enough, you need 3. So we've been talking about 1. There are 2 others. So the Om Shanti, I'm a soul, have a nice day, see you later. is not enough, because there are too much energy in the subconscious from your pain which comes up and says, I'm coming anyway. Yeah. So you have a second point, which is Baba. You see. So your second point is you have the point of light, which is Baba. So I'm a soul, and my father, teacher, Satguru, etc., so and so forth, friend, and everything is Baba. So along with the first point, you have the second point. So that's much more powerful than just one point. And then your third point is drama. Because just I'm a soul and God is my father may not be enough. But you apply the word drama, the point of drama, and that means that whatever it is that circumstances just did, it's not more, not less, it's just drama. So what? You see. And this use of these 3 points allows you to remain honoring yourself against a formidable obstacle or enemy which is trying to make you feel bad about yourself and give away your power and try and look good in the face of it, you see, which means you are effectively betraying yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? And so therefore Baba tells us, I'm giving you weapons, but you need to really play with these weapons so you understand how to use them. And when the enemy comes, you better be fast, because you're talking about hypersonic bombs, you know. Now this is what's used at the moment, hypersonic. Yes. What you also need is, these are points, use the 3 together, learn how to use them, and learn how to use them fast, aim them accurately, kill your enemy. They're dots. When you put a trident on the ground and you pick it up, you get 3 dots. But when you have a trident in your armory, the 3 dots is what happens to the circumstance. ... Have a nice day. Goodbye. See you around. He also talks about arrows. You have arrows. And your arrows are different, because with your arrows you want to strike people's hearts. So arrows are, the trident is a weapon of defense, but the arrow is a weapon of attack. And so who do you attack? You attack a blind, deaf soul who doesn't know anything, to wake them up. And so attack doesn't mean that you're damaging them, but you're breaking through their blindfolds and allowing them to see something. So for that you need arrows. So what you're doing is you're killing their inability to see. And you know, in the Gita there is this scene, or in the Mahabharata, there's this scene where the weapons teacher is teaching to Arjuna and his brothers archery, because they're warriors, so they need a teacher to teach them how to shoot. So in the scene, there are these Kauravas, 100, and Pandavas, 5. And in the weapons training section, he didn't take 100 Kauravas, just a few of them, the main ones. And they all want to be the best warriors there are, and they have the best trainer there is. So the teacher says, okay, aim. You have to shoot the eye in this straw bird who's been put up on the tower. And so then he asked them one by one, what do you see? So the first one, he said, I see the eye of the bird. He said, fail. And he asked the second one, what do you see? He said, I see the bird on the tower and he's got an eye and I see the whole thing. Fail. Then he asked Arjuna, what do you see? So I don't see anything. He said, what do you see? I see the glint in the eye of the bird. And he said, okay, release your arrow. And he got it, you see. So this is to do with learning how to use your weapons. And if your arrow is to awaken a soul to understand themselves, understand God, you have to aim at their capability of understanding things with their heart, where they have a soft spot for God, where they love God. Hit them there, they will get it. Hit them anywhere else, they won't get it. There's arrows. Trident is for what's coming at you, as a defensive weapon. 3 points. That's good, right? Okay, now it's time to finish this section, I think. Yes?
Yes.
And so we'll just have a moment of silence. And Shanti.